Seeing is believing, but some photos are so perplexing that even looking at them doesn't guarantee you'll understand what you're seeing. From a supposed time traveler from the 1970s to some of the most mysterious figures in history, here are 20 rare historical photos that continue to baffle scientists. Number 3 is particularly intriguing. Number 20. Margaret Hamilton. This might look like an ordinary photo of a woman, but this is a photograph of one of the most brilliant minds who ever lived. This is Margaret Hamilton, and that stack of books beside her is full of code. Yep, you heard me correctly. These books are the printed version of the Apollo Guidance Computer, AGC, source code. This software guided Apollo astronauts safely to the moon and back. Margaret, now aged 87, was the lead software engineer for Project Apollo. Born in 1936, Hamilton's work on the Apollo missions transformed the foundation of software engineering, a term she's credited with coining. Imagine this, at a time when the term software engineering wasn't even in the lexicon, Hamilton was leading the charge in developing the onboard flight software for the most ambitious space mission ever undertaken. The photo of Hamilton with her code has become an emblem of dedication and innovation. It visually represents the enormity of the Apollo software project and Hamilton's monumental contribution to its success. The stack of books beside her contains the lines of code that she and her team wrote and tested. What's unexplainable about this photo, you ask? Well, it's the fact that she hasn't received enough recognition for her tantamount contribution. Number 19. Billy the Kid. Born Henry McCarthy in 1859, or William H. Bonney among many other names, Billy the Kid became a popular figure on the American frontier. His life was shrouded in mystery and myth. His life was a series of daring escapades, beginning with petty theft and quickly escalating to more serious crimes. What made Billy the Kid renowned, however, was his involvement in the Lincoln County War, the conflict between rival business factions in New Mexico. Despite his criminal activities, Billy was known to be charming, literate, and fluent in Spanish, which endeared him to a wide array of people. Then there's the mystery of his death, or supposed death, as some would argue. Officially, Billy the Kid's life was taken by Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881 at the tender age of 21. Yet, rumors and conspiracy theories have swirled for decades that Billy escaped that fate, living out his days under an alias. This makes sense considering most people would want such a character as Billy to not have such a quick and anticlimactic end. His fame is the reason why anything connected to Billy is considered valuable by many. But perhaps the most valuable of all are his photos, or at least photos people think are connected to him. Number 18. The unidentified flying object in the Madonna. From Time Travelers, here we have a photo showing an alleged extraterrestrial visitor, a photo of a painting. This piece is called The Madonna with Saint Giovannino, attributed to the 15th century Italian artist Domenico Ghirlandaio. At first glance, it appears to be a beautiful, if not typical, Renaissance depiction of the Virgin Mary with the Christ child. But if you look at the details, you'll notice something out of place, something hovering in the sky that looks like a flying saucer. This alleged UFO is depicted with a dome top and emitting rays of light, seemingly observed by a man in the background shielding his eyes. How did this get here? What was the artist trying to convey? And most importantly, why would a Renaissance painter include a flying object that fits our modern interpretation of an alien spacecraft in a religious scene? While some argue that this is evidence of ancient alien visitation, suggesting that people in the Renaissance period may have witnessed unexplainable aerial phenomena and incorporated them into their art, others believe that this alleged UFO is a symbolic representation of angels, or perhaps even a cloud or something else, an extraterrestrial or something else. Let me know what you think in the comments. Number 17. The Mothman. Is anyone here from Point Pleasant? If so, the legend of Mothman is probably something you're familiar with. But for the uninitiated, here's the eerie lore surrounding the alleged Mothman sightings. The Mothman saga begins in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the mid-1960s, particularly during a cold November night in 1966. Two young couples drove through the TNT area, a former World War II munitions plant. Their night took a terrifying turn when they encountered something unimaginable, a large flying creature with glowing red eyes and massive wings. This encounter wasn't an isolated incident. Over the next year, Point Pleasant became a hot spot for Mothman sightings. Descriptions of the Mothman vary, but most witnesses agree on a few spine-chilling details. Standing around 7 feet tall, the creature has large reflective red eyes and wings spanning over 10 feet. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed. Once again, the Mothman became part of this seemingly separate disaster. The locals speculated that the creature's appearances were either a warning of the impending disaster or somehow directly connected to the catastrophe itself. Is the Mothman a harbinger of doom, a misunderstood creature, or something else entirely? For all we know, the Mothman could have just been a massive bird seen as something else due to fear and paranoia. Number 16. The Umbrella Man. If you try to read about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, a photo of a man holding an umbrella might show up. He looks inconspicuous, but he is part of conspiracies about Kennedy. There are several photos showing the Umbrella Man near the location where Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas, the day that would be etched in history due to the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was then that the Umbrella Man was seen. He was captured in the Zapruder film and other photographs, standing along the motorcade route, opening and lifting an umbrella as the president's car approached. Not really suspicious, but conspiracy theorists have been curious about this anonymous man for years. Was the umbrella a signal, a weapon disguised as an everyday object, or was it just a coincidence? The Umbrella Man's identity soon became a serious matter, and in 1978, a man named Louis Stephen Witt came forward to testify before the House Select Committee on Assassinations. Witt claimed he was the infamous Umbrella Man, and his reasons for bringing an umbrella that day were personal, not political or sinister. He said the umbrella was a form of protest against JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, and nothing more. Despite his testimony, there are still doubts and skepticism surrounding the Umbrella Man's identity and his motive for being present during the assassination. Number 15. Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. In the 1930s, workers of the United Fruit Company stumbled upon bizarre round spheres while clearing the jungle for banana plantations. These spheres are now known as the Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. Although we know some things about them, they continue to be shrouded in mystery. How did a society without the benefit of modern technology, or even metal tools, manage to create nearly perfect stone spheres, and why? We know that the spheres date back to somewhere between 300 and 1500 AD, created by the Diquis culture, a pre-Columbian society that flourished in what is now Costa Rica. Theories about the spheres' purpose are varied. Some experts believe that they were used as status symbols by the ancient elites, while others propose they were aligned for astronomical purposes, pointing to the rise and set of the sun or moon, which is a common theme for ancient artifacts. However, there were also outlandish theories, including speculations about connections to Atlantis, or that they were navigational aids left by extraterrestrial visitors. Despite these theories, the true purpose of the spheres remains a mystery. What's clear, however, is the skill and effort that went into making them. The stones were likely shaped using other harder stones, and the level of precision achieved is astonishing, especially considering the tools available at the time. Unfortunately, many spheres have been moved from their original locations, and some have been damaged or destroyed, making it even harder for researchers to uncover their secrets. In recent years, efforts have been made to protect and study the spheres, with some areas designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Number 14. Bigfoot. I'm sure that most people know about Bigfoot. Regardless of whether you believe in its existence, you can't deny that Bigfoot has a large role in American folklore. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is an elusive creature reportedly seen by thousands, and yet only a handful of photographs and videographic evidence of it exist. Bigfoot is described as a massive ape-like creature, standing anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in thick, dark fur, with a smell that's as unforgettable as its sighting. Reports of Bigfoot sightings span across North America, with a significant number concentrated in the Pacific Northwest. For the Native Americans, Bigfoot is a protector of the forest rather than a malicious entity. In pop culture in modern times, however, Bigfoot is seen as a monster. Among the evidence connected to this cryptid is a set of footprints discovered by a gentleman named Gerald Crew in Bluff Creek, California. Various pieces of evidence have accompanied this over the years, and yet, to this day, the existence of this cryptid remains questionable. Number 13. Grigory Rasputin. Now, this photo shows Grigory Rasputin, and his existence is shrouded in mystery. Born in 1869 in Siberia, Rasputin started life with humble beginnings. Perhaps even young Rasputin himself didn't expect that he would become an influential figure in the final years of Russia's imperial dynasty. You see, Rasputin wasn't just an intelligent individual, he claimed that he had mystical powers. Rasputin claimed to have healing abilities and a direct connection to the divine. These claims caught the attention of Tsar Nicholas II and his wife Alexandra, especially after Rasputin seemingly managed to alleviate the symptoms of their son Alexis's hemophilia, a condition that was a closely guarded state secret due to its implications for the imperial succession. To some, he was a holy man and a healer. To others, he was a manipulative charlatan who used his position to gain political power and indulge in debauchery. With his close relationship with the imperial family, he became the target of the aristocrats. He allegedly survived many attempts on his life, only to ultimately die in the early 20th century when Russia was on the brink of revolution. To this day, Rasputin's identity is still shrouded in mystery. Was he truly a powerful man or a skillful con artist? Who knows, history truly is pretty interesting. Number 12. Sailing stones. Did you know that in Death Valley, there are stones that move on their own? These are called the sailing stones, and their name is pretty self-explanatory. There have been many claims of stones of various sizes, with some weighing up to several hundred pounds, moving across the flat desert surface, leaving long winding tracks behind them. So how do these stones sail across the desert without human or animal intervention? That's what we're trying to answer. For years, the sailing stones of Death Valley were a source of speculation and intrigue. Early theories ranged from magnetic fields to strong winds to mischievous pranksters. But, well, it's hard to believe that someone would go to the desert and move these stones several inches a day to trick scientists and other people, right? One of the leading theories is that ice, water, and wind are the culprits. Scientists claim that perhaps on the rare occasions when it rains in Death Valley, water fills the shallow racetrack playa, forming a thin layer of mud underneath the stones. Then, as temperatures drop, ice forms on the water's surface, encasing the stones in thin sheets of ice. When the morning sun warms the playa, the ice begins to melt, and strong winds blowing across the slippery mud surface push the ice sheets with their embedded stones. This movement, though imperceptibly slow, allows the stones to sail across the playa, etching their paths in the mud. While this explanation is pretty acceptable, the mystery of the sailing stones remains. Number 11. The Jersey Devil. Now here's a pretty creepy story, the Jersey Devil. The legend of the Jersey Devil centers around Mother Leeds, a local woman who, according to lore, found herself pregnant with her 13th child in 1735. Overwhelmed and frustrated, she cursed the child, declaring it would be the devil. The story goes that on a stormy night, surrounded by friends and a local midwife, Mother Leeds gave birth to a child that initially appeared normal, but then transformed into a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. It screeched, flew around the room, and then disappeared up the chimney, out into the dark pine barrens, where it's allegedly resided ever since. The Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, supposedly haunts the vast, dense forests of the Pine Barrens, an area ripe for nurturing such a dark legend with its remote, sometimes impenetrable woodlands. Over the centuries, there have been numerous sightings and encounters with the creature, described as emitting a blood-curdling scream and moving at incredible speeds. Skeptics and historians have tried to rationalize the legend, linking the story to the Leeds family, prominent in the Pine Barrens area in the 18th century. Some suggest the story was concocted or exaggerated due to political and religious rivalries, or to demonize the Leeds family who had loyalist leanings during the Revolutionary War era. Yet despite attempts to demystify the Jersey Devil, reports of encounters continued to surface well into the 20th and 21st centuries, keeping the legend alive. Number 10. Skunk Ape. The skunk ape, aptly named for its horrendous odor, described as a mix of rotten eggs, methane, and that wet dog smell that just won't quit, is said to be a large, hairy, bipedal mammal roaming the swamps of Florida. But sightings have been reported as far as North Carolina and Arkansas. Descriptions of the skunk ape vary, but witnesses generally agree on a few key points. It stands between 5 to 7 feet tall, is covered in reddish-brown fur, and has glowing red eyes that pierce through the night. Their most distinctive feature, however, is that unforgettable smell, a pungent odor that can stop you in your tracks and, according to some, is used as a defense mechanism to keep predators and overly curious humans at bay. Mainstream science dismisses the creature as a mix of folklore, misidentification, and outright hoaxes. Yet the dedicated community of believers and cryptozoologists insists there's something out there. Armed with photographs, personal anecdotes, and even plaster casts of large footprints as evidence of its existence. So far this is the only acceptable photo of the skunk ape. No other evidence of its existence has appeared so far. Number 9. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Everyone likes ghost stories, so let's stay on the paranormal side, shall we? Just take a look at this photo. This allegedly shows the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. This specter is believed to be the ghost of Lady Dorothy Walpole, who lived from 1686 to 1726. She was the sister of the first Prime Minister of Great Britain, Robert Walpole, and the wife of Charles Townshend, a man notorious for his fiery temper and jealous nature. According to legend, Dorothy was caught having an affair, and as punishment, Charles locked her away in the family estate at Raynham Hall in Norfolk, where she remained until her death under mysterious circumstances. Some say she died of smallpox, others whisper of a darker end. Centuries after her death, in 1936, photographers from Country Life magazine captured what is one of the most famous ghost photos ever taken. The image shows a grand staircase in Raynham Hall with a ghostly figure draped in a brown dress descending the stairs. This figure, believed to be the Brown Lady herself, has sparked debates and investigations for decades. Is it a trick of the light, an accidental double exposure, or genuine evidence of the paranormal? Many believe that the latter is the case, but until more evidence shows up, a lot of skepticism and mystery will surround the alleged ghost of Lady Walpole. Number 8. Eilean Mor Lighthouse. This might look like an ordinary photo, but it shows one of the most enduring mysteries of all time. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse, also known as the Eilean Mor Lighthouse, has been shrouded in mystery since 1900. This lighthouse is a remote structure located off the coast of Scotland. In December 1900, its 3 lighthouse keepers vanished into thin air and were never seen again. The keepers, James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, were seasoned mariners. The 3 lighthouse keepers had all the skills needed to survive in a fortress in the middle of the open sea. Number 7. Voynich Manuscript. Imagine stumbling upon a book filled with writings in an unknown language, adorned with mysterious illustrations of unknown plants, astronomical diagrams, and strange human-like figures. That's exactly what the Voynich manuscript is. But what exactly is it? The Voynich manuscript is a detailed 240-page book named after Wilfred Voynich, a Polish book dealer who acquired it in 1912. The manuscript is believed to have been created in the 15th century, based on carbon dating of the vellum, a material made from calfskin. It's written on. Its origins, authorship, and purpose remain a complete mystery, with theories ranging from a lost language or code to an elaborate hoax. Perhaps bookworms and history enthusiasts already know some things about this book. The content of the Voynich manuscript is divided into several sections, each more baffling than the last. There's the botanical section, filled with illustrations of plants that don't match any known species on Earth. The astronomical section contains diagrams of stars and mysterious zodiac signs. The biological section is filled with drawings of women and what appear to be complex apparatuses. The pharmaceutical section depicts jars and containers of various shapes and sizes, accompanied by more unknown plants. And then there's the text, pages upon pages written in an elaborate script that no one has been able to decode. Over the years, the Voynich manuscript has attracted the attention of some of the world's best codebreakers, including those who cracked the Enigma code during World War II, but to no avail. The language of the Voynich manuscript does not match any known language, and attempts to decipher it have all failed so far. Is it a sophisticated code, a lost language, or perhaps a detailed form of gibberish designed to fool the reader? While logically speaking, scientists believe that perhaps the Voynich manuscript was created by a con man to make more money, others also believe that the Voynich manuscript was meant to be a health book for someone of high status. Well, regardless of what it is, it's one astounding historical book. Number 6. The Fresno Nightcrawlers. If you're from Fresno, California, perhaps you're already familiar with these cryptids, the Fresno Nightcrawlers. For the uninitiated, these creatures came into existence when they were spotted through a security camera in Fresno, California. These enigmatic beings look like a pair of white pants walking all by themselves. Yes, you heard that correctly, walking pants. The footage, which dates back to 2007, shows these slender, leggy entities moving across a lawn in the dead of night. These cryptids also appear in footage captured by Yosemite National Park's security camera. Since then, several theories have emerged. Are they aliens, ancient terrestrial beings, or just a clever hoax? Some Native American tribes in the area have suggested that these beings could be spirits of the forest, walking the earth with a message of peace and harmony with nature. Many claim that despite seeing the footage, these night crawlers don't really look like suspicious or malicious beings. Instead, they look like they're simply visiting us and making their presence known. Some believe these creatures aren't real. Instead, they're just the result of clever video editing, puppetry, or even just pants on a wire. But what about you? Do you have any theories about these alleged cryptids? If you ask the internet, these are among the cutest cryptids that ever emerged on the World Wide Web. Number 5. The anachronistic 1930s beach photograph. This photograph has been making waves on the internet over the past few years. Do you think you can spot the odd one out? If you notice the man wearing more modern-looking clothes, then you're right. This photograph was allegedly captured in the 1930s. Among the crowd of sunbathers and swimmers clad in period-appropriate attire, an individual seems wildly out of place. This person is dressed in what appears to be modern-day clothing, holding something that looks suspiciously like a mobile device. Was he perhaps recording his observations on his phone? Maybe he was trying to navigate the remote control of his time machine, or perhaps he was adjusting his watch and his clothes were coincidentally out of place at the time. There's a lot of skepticism surrounding this photo. You see, many of these photographs have been proven to be hoaxes or misinterpretations of historical attire and objects. What might look like a smartphone could very well be a compact case, a popular accessory of the time, or a watch. But who knows? I'll let you be the judge. Number 4. The Nampa figurine. In 1889, workers were drilling a well near Nampa, Idaho. After reaching about 300 feet down, they discovered a baked clay figurine, a suspicious and eerie one at that. This figurine became known as the Nampa figurine. But what's so bizarre about this figurine? Well, this small figure is considered by some to be an anomaly, an out-of-place artifact that doesn't fit into the conventional timeline of human history in North America. According to the geological layers it was found in, this figurine could be millions of years old, dating back to a time long before humans were thought to have inhabited the continent. But how could that be? It's a small humanoid figure, skillfully crafted with detailed features, suggesting that whoever made it had a good deal of artistic ability. If it's as old as the surrounding rock where it was found, then it would change history. However, several explanations for this figure have emerged over the years. Some suggest the figurine could have been a hoax, perhaps dropped down the well by someone looking to create a stir or simply as a joke. Others argue that it might have been carried into the well site by natural processes, such as a flood or other geological movements, though this doesn't fully explain its presence so deep in the earth. If the Nampa figurine truly is as old as it was initially believed, this would mean that civilizations with the capacity to create such artifacts existed in North America far earlier than previously thought, changing how we see human evolution and migration. To this day, however, the Nampa figurine remains a mystery. Number 3. The Hook Island Sea Monster Photograph. Imagine going to a lake to unwind, only to come home with a photograph that would soon perplex people for generations. This exact situation happened to Robert Lou Sarek on December 12, 1964. On that fateful day, Robert and his family captured a photo of a mysterious tadpole-like creature in the tranquil waters of Stonehaven Bay in Hook Island, Queensland, Australia. It shows a massive shadowy figure lurking beneath the crystal-clear waters, its size and shape giving life to the Hook Island sea monster. This cryptid is about 75 to 80 feet long, with a wide tadpole-like body and eyes placed on the top of its head. The Lou Sareks stumbled upon this colossal creature while snorkeling, and what's remarkable is the series of photographs they managed to snap, showing the beast in startling clarity. The images show the creature almost stationary in the water, its mouth open as if caught mid-gasp, with its skin appearing to have a texture that some described as resembling a giant waterlogged tarpaulin. The photographs quickly made headlines worldwide, sparking debates and theories about what the creature could be. Was it a prehistoric survivor somehow finding refuge in the secluded bay, a giant unknown species of eel or sea snake, Or was it all an elaborate hoax, a shadow play of underwater currents and floating debris? While many people believe the photograph to be authentic, some pointed out that the calmness of the creature, despite the presence of nearby observers, was suspicious, suggesting that it might be an inanimate object rather than a living, breathing entity. Others proposed that the monster was a floating mass of seaweed or a submerged boat cover. Yet, the sheer size and distinct features visible in the photographs left room for doubt and fueled endless speculation. Despite numerous theories and investigations, the true nature of the Hook Island sea monster remains unsolved. Number 2. The Danakil Depression. No, this is not a photograph of an alien planet. This is the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. It's a remote, desolate region in the northern part of the Afar Triangle in Ethiopia, sitting at 410 feet below sea level, making it among the lowest and hottest places on the planet. Temperatures here can soar above 122 degrees Fahrenheit. But aside from this incredibly high temperature, its landscape and terrain are also deadly. You see, the Danakil Depression consists of vast salt flats, active volcanoes, and colorful hydrothermal fields. One of its most well-known sites is Dalal, which holds the record for the highest average temperatures for an inhabited place on Earth. Dalal offers a view of the Earth's most otherworldly scenery, featuring hot springs that bubble up in shades of green, yellow, and orange, a result of the high sulfur and iron content in the water. Despite its harsh environment, the Afar people have been harvesting salt from this vast flat expanse, carrying it away in camel caravans for centuries. What's more, this interesting environment of the Danakil Depression has been a playground for scientists for decades. Now it's time for today's topic. This is among the rare historical photos that scientists cannot explain. We've talked about quite a lot of cryptids, and this photo shows another one of them. This is an unrelated fact, but until their extinction in the 19th century, people saw the dodo bird as more of an imaginary creature than anything else. Now, this skepticism is understandable. After all, since the late 1840s or perhaps even earlier, taxidermy remains of combined and stitched animals have emerged, from animal hybrids to mythological creatures like mermaids. This photo, allegedly captured in the 19th century, portrays a massive monster that looks like something straight out of a nightmare. A dinosaur, a dragon, or something else entirely. The problem is that we can't know for sure. There's the possibility that this is another hoax created purely out of self-interest, but there's also a chance this creature did exist at some point, just like the dodo bird. I'll let you be the judge. Number 1. Mysterious airships. This photo depicts the alleged balloons or airships spotted in the skies of the United States in the late 1890s. This began around 1896 when reports of unidentified flying objects began in California and eventually spread across the entire United States. People from all walks of life reported seeing strange cigar-shaped vehicles, illuminated by powerful searchlights, moving through the skies at unprecedented speeds and performing maneuvers beyond the capability of any known aircraft at the time. Some reports even included encounters with the airship pilots, who were described as human-looking beings who claimed to be testing out new technology. With that being said, the most common theory was aliens. Newspapers were filled with reports and eyewitness accounts, each more sensational than the last. Some suggested that the airships were the work of a secret inventor ahead of his time, testing his creations under the cover of night. Others believed they were visitors from another planet, observing the human race from afar. And, of course, some skeptics dismissed the sightings as hoaxes, mass hysteria, or misinterpretations of natural phenomena. Although the consensus today is that the airships were indeed new technology being tested, the mystery of these airship sightings remains. Which of these did you find the most intriguing? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, check out the other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.